So many, many years ago, and I might need your help if you're willing, okay? But not right now, relax. So many, many years ago, there was no electricity, but people sailed all over the world because of one power. Anybody know what that power was? Wind. It was wind, right? So, now of course I went and bought a bunch of things that blow in the wind, stuck them all around the church, and the one time there is no wind in northwestern Ohio is today on Pentecost. It's just a hot, sticky day, and they're not moving very much. So I need some help to create some wind. You think you could be the wind for me? Want to try it? I'll hold it out here. You just blow into it. Oh, I might, all your help, I guess. Oh, it still won't work. Try it again. You want to try again? Some of the best children's sermons just don't work the way I planned them. Thank you. Are you going to give it back or keep it? No, never mind. Don't worry about it. Hey, by the way, there are a couple outside. If you want one, take them. Okay? Seriously. You want to go up there? They're related to you, aren't they? Yeah, figures. They're related to her. Wind. It is amazing that most of human history we did not have artificial power, that we relied on the power of the wind to get us one place to another. So Pentecost comes around, and what's the very symbol that God sends into the midst of everybody? It's the wind. And a symbol of fire, purity, power. But before I begin, I'm curious about something. How many of you, you just raise your hand, you don't have to stand. How many of you were born in families that had 4 or more children? Raise your hands. 4 or more children. Okay? How many of you were born in families that had 3 or less? So, one of the things that's happened in American culture is that families are having less and less children. So sometimes when churches get all upset about what's happening to their children and where they are out at, I want to say to them, it's about demographics, folks. It's not about you. It's about demographics. We aren't having as many children, period. And the children we have often move away. Not always, but often. They come back to visit, they say hi, but sometimes they disappear. But that's okay. Somehow God can use everything that goes on. Because as I tried to remind council last Tuesday, not knowing how important that would be, I said, God is with us always. Then I received a call from Becky telling me of what was happening with her daughter. God is with us always, in lightness and in those times that are filled with the sun. But Pentecost, many years ago, centuries ago, used to be a major celebration. It is technically, by the way, the second most important festival of the church year. The first is what? Easter. From Easter, all come and lead. And then Pentecost was the boom. The church's power inspired into being something special. And in the 10th century, in the great cathedrals, they not only used all the gifts that they could find to celebrate Pentecost, but in the vault ceilings of the cathedrals, there were these little holes punched. And during the service, at a proper time, some poor person climbed up, way up there at the top of the thing, through a catacomb kind of place, opened up a little thing that no one could see, and they threw pigeons down, thus implying the Holy Spirit. As the people looked up and saw all these pigeons and the doves going and flying, so God was present. And then at another point, they would open it up and they would have rose petals fall down as if tongues were falling on them. Now that's impressive. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not sure if I would want a bunch of doves flying around me in church. And how many times I have heard people complain about rose petals getting ground into the carpet. To the fact that many churches don't even allow you to have flowers be thrown in the church. But the point of this is simple. That's all this Holy Spirit stuff is sometimes, doesn't the church need some holes in it in order to be holy? So in my last catechism class, I brought out my pot. I made it the first year I was ordained. Isn't it beautiful? My pot here, I was putting some flowers in it and I dropped it. And I glued it back together. And then it became the symbol of my career. Yes, I am a cracked pot. But more than that. Last Saturday, I got a text from somebody who wanted me to come and anoint his mother-in-law who was dying. The problem is it was 2 hours away. And I needed him to go to his pastor and ask his pastor to do it, even though he didn't like his pastor. That person was his pastor. But it reminded me of that man. When I went to Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Ypsilanti, Michigan, Ypsi, for those of you who are from there, I was asked to come in and take over for the pastor who was an alcoholic. He drank all the time. He would die because of his alcoholism. And I'll never forget walking into that church. I was walking in to be interviewed by the congregation council, and he was walking out the same door at the exact same time for his exit interview. And when I got there, the place was dead. They were burnt out from 2 major fights they had had in their congregation. They were just not alive. And so I heard that they had this big parade. It's called the Heritage Parade up in Ypsi. And it's a big deal for the community. It's about their heritage. And I said to the council, "Hey, I know a clown. Would you mind if I tried to get a clown troupe together and get in the parade?" You know how council can be. Sorry, I don't mean, but, why would you do that, Pastor? We used to do that with floats. I said, no, the clowns. You've had some clowns. And sure enough, they finally gave me permission, and I started doing a clown troupe. And I got kids, but I also discovered there were clowns in the congregation. I mean, real clowns, good clowns. Not like me. And we got a clown troupe together, And I got two older gentlemen who decided they would like to clown with the troop. One of them was an ex-con. And the other was the man who texted me last week. He gave me this to remind myself always of what kind of pastor I really am. It's a finger puppet clown, in case you're wondering. But this person was, he's tough as nails. He spits them, in fact. I talked to him recently and he said, well, I don't play golf anymore because I fell and I broke my arm and I never got it set. That's how tough he is. He was having a major heart attack and he drove himself to the hospital. He's bullheaded, he's hot-headed, he's controlling, he's anything you can imagine, and yet he is so filled with holes that he is one of the most holy men I've ever met. Now the two of them say that I transformed their lives. I did not. Instead, what I did is I saw in these two men and invited them and sponsored them to an event, to a retreat, that is a spiritual renewal movement. And I asked them to go and experience that. And when they were done with it, they were changed. They had never in their lives experienced the fact that God loved them. The entire weekend, all people do is over and over and over and over and over remind you of the grace of God, the love of God, the forgiveness of God. And now these people with holes in them are transformed in this world. Again, as much as they think I was the influencer of that, I think it was the Holy Spirit. But I also have something to say to you. I'm going to be going and having surgery. I'll be out hopefully for just a couple weeks, but God only knows how long I'll be out. But I seriously want you to think about something. What I have noticed since I've been here is that if you so choose, you as a community of faith, if you so choose, you too are holy and holy. When I have noticed you at your best, it is when you are caring for those who are broken or wounded or hurt or fearful or trembling from life. When you are at the holiest is when you minister to the most holy people. This seems to be what I think and believe that the Holy Spirit is calling you to. Now I know that some of you cannot be holy. You will refuse to allow the holes in your life and the shining presence of the Spirit to come into you and through those holes. I know that some can't handle that. But for those of you who can, for those of you who will, this is the chance for you to transform this whole community into a community of holiness. Holy holes. Cracked pots. And you know, my pot, the older it gets, it's falling apart. And yet I know that the Holy Spirit can glue me back together. Humpty Dumpty and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty together again. But the Holy Spirit can. So while I'm gone, however long I'm gone, I would ask you to pray about this. Pray about what it means to be holy and holy. What it means to be cracked. Because at your best, you know how to do ministry to people who are broken, who are wounded, who are cracked. It seems to be your gift. But what do I know? I'm just a crackpot.